The Philippines is more than just a call center or virtual assistant hub. The talent in the Philippines is very broad and wide, and today I'm going to talk to you about the wide-ranging talents in the Philippines. Hi, my name is Bryan, and I'm the host of the Philippine Business Playbook podcast and also the CEO of Tache. The Philippines has long been known as a destination for virtual assistants or call centers. And when I talk to business owners, a lot of times that is their initial thought, that if I want to get somebody to answer the phones or if I want to get somebody to do some simple data entry, back-end support, the Philippines is the place for that. And that's true, but you're really missing out on the opportunities if that is the limits of what you're looking for in Filipino staffing. So let's get into the episode. I was recently asked to speak on a panel for Entrepreneurs Organization about outsourcing in the Philippines. And many of the questions that I was asked was about what types of roles can Filipino workers excel at when working with clients in the US. And a lot of them have already utilized Filipinos for call center type of things, whether it's just answering the phones or larger operations and that they're aware of, or also just as back-end support. So obviously the most well-known situation is to utilize Filipinos for those call center roles. If you have a company where you need to have let's say 10 people or even 2 people answering the phones for customer service, you're going to be looking to the Philippines. The Philippines is the number one source of voice outsourcing in the world. It's overtaken India or any of those other countries. If you call customer service right now and you get somebody on the phone, very likely they're in the Philippines. I always make a joke of it when I'm calling a customer service situation, whether it's for AT&T or even Apple or one of those other companies. When the person picks up the phone, I say, "Hey, where are you located in the Philippines?" And sometimes I even ask them to submit their application to Tache if I think they do a good job. But obviously, they're a great source of talent in these voice outsourcing situations because they're able to speak with a little to no accent. Their education, starting in elementary school, includes English language. All of the higher education is done in English language. It's not just given in English language. And a lot of the government work and paperwork is in the English language. So even though the primary language is Tagalog or Filipino, I say it's not 1A, 1B is English. I know my mom grew up in Mindanao and she speaks Cebuano. And for her, it's actually easier for her to communicate with people in northern Philippines or Manila in English. Her accent, the certain words and everything sometimes gets a little bit confusing when speaking with people from Manila and Tagalog. And so she prefers to speak in English. And that's common for a lot of people outside of the capital region, where speaking in English is just easier. And as a result, the population as a whole is really great at English. And so if you want to be like Amazon or HSBC or all these other companies that have call centers in the Philippines, whether it's 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 or 1,000 people, the Philippines is going to be your number one choice. And then VAs, virtual assistants, doing back-end support, doing support for executives or even just your regular staff. People are looking to the Philippines for those people in those positions. And that's, again, because of the language skills, the cultural skills, the general overall skill level of the Filipinos. That makes them a good fit for that. If you're going to have an assistant for you as an executive in your company, you want somebody that you can communicate with, not only just making sure that they understand the language, but also culturally. So anytime you have a position that requires high level skill, obviously, but also a mastery of the English language, especially if you wanted to have a low accent, or a cultural understanding of the people, the U.S., what the people in the U.S. are thinking about that time, then you want to go to the Philippines, because Filipinos are watching the same Netflix shows, they're reading the same articles and newspapers and social media as anyone else in the U.S. And so they're going to be able to talk to you about whatever shows is coming out on Netflix or whatever movies big in the movies, because they're watching all that same stuff. And that's cultural familiarity is different than somebody potentially that's in Eastern Europe or even South America or India, which might have different cultural norms and things that they're consuming on a daily basis. And so we really find that the Philippines is the number one resource for that, and obviously people who want those capabilities are coming to the Philippines first, and you should as well. The Philippines has a growing pool of IT and software developers. You're going to find all of the major technology companies, IBM, Apple, Microsoft, all of those companies are going to have teams in the Philippines. And that's because you have a very large and educated youth population that really is on top of the latest technological advances, whether it's AI or coding or anything else like that. The Philippines has really gotten into the global market for IT and software development really early on, and that's resulted in a very educated population in those spaces. So the Philippines, even though it's a developing country, has always had a high usage rate of technology, of cell phones, of just basic online presence. They're one of the highest users of cell phones and apps and everything else. And so as a result, you create a population that's eager to learn those skills, and the Philippines has done that. Additionally, the demographics of the Filipino people really skews younger. In an era where the older population is growing in Europe and the US and even China, finding a younger population that's hungry and wants to learn those new technologies and those new skills really is important. And the Philippines has a demographic that really takes advantage of their youth and the technology options that are available to it. And so we're seeing a lot of companies that were maybe previously looking to India or Eastern Europe now coming to the Philippines and tapping into that youth that have really taken on the challenge of learning all these skills and are at the forefront of the latest technologies. So I'd encourage you to consider the Philippines as well for those types of positions. Filipinos are well known for their skill in the accounting field and then their compliance with details and rules and those type of cultural norms that really make them great in the accounting field. For those of you that have been watching the Philippine Business Playbook podcast, we've recently had an interview with Richard Levichin of Galeras Robinson, who's really grown his business in accounting, finding people that are highly skilled in the accounting field to work with his clients in the US. And there's a reason why that strategy is successful. It's because all of the major accounting firms in the US work with Filipino staff, have offices in the Philippines. So if you're Deloitte or you're Ernst & Young or one of these other huge firms, you've already tapped into the skill that's in the Philippines. And now other accounting firms in the US or even just other small and medium-sized businesses that want to find accountants or controllers that have those skills are looking to the Philippines, and the really smart ones are looking at people that have experience with Deloitte or Ernst & Young or one of these other huge firms where they've really learned those skills, but maybe want to move on to a better opportunity. As you can imagine, if you're working with one of these big four companies, you're going to potentially not have a great work-life balance. I've actually heard that sometimes you don't even get a great salary because you're joining that firm because of the name and because of the opportunities that you're going to get as a result. And so if you come in and you're looking for those types of employees, you might find one at a reasonable salary that's eager to work for you and find a better work-life balance, find the culture that they're looking for, and really advance their career with you, and hoping for that as a long-term position, having proven their worth at one of these big four companies. And so that's a strategy that I really like to suggest to our clients and those that are looking to build teams in the Philippines. And we've seen that as really a successful strategy for our clients looking to hire people in the Philippines. Additionally, I like to point out to people that you're not just looking for accountants or bookkeepers that are going to just do back-end support. You can really find amazing accountants in the Philippines that have MBAs or CPAs. I recently saw a stat that the Philippines generates 8,000 CPAs every year. So you can imagine, again, this is demographics, as I talked about earlier, a young, growing, highly educated population that is eager to go into the workforce and prove their skills on a global stage. So if one of those 8,000 CPAs would work well within your company, the Philippines is the place you want to go look for. Number 5, digital marketers, content creators, and creative professionals. Earlier, I was talking to you about how much Filipinos are online and in technology, using their phones. I saw a stat where the Philippines is number 4 worldwide in their usage of social media. So they're on there. They're seeing the stuff. They're doing TikToks. They're doing Snapchat. They're on there. They're becoming TikTok superstars and showcasing their skills on there. And as a result, they're really aligned with the U.S. when it comes to culture and understanding the latest trends and how to really leverage those tools. And so if you're looking to hire somebody that has the skills in digital marketing, that knows how to create content that's going to really resonate with the people in America and your consumers, going to the Philippines is an excellent idea. They're going to have the not only the technical skills and the understanding of the platforms and the knowledge of how to put together an ad campaign, how to put together potentially a viral campaign, how to create content for these platforms. They're the ones that are consuming it, and therefore they're the ones that know how to create it. If you go to another country that is using these platforms potentially in, let's say a South American context or Eastern European context, where they've got their own niches and their own viral things and their own cultural habits that are happening, it's not quite the same as what's happening in the US. And so I would really caution against trying to create that next viral TikTok or Instagram post or Facebook post utilizing somebody that doesn't understand the nuances of the American cultural well-being. And so that's why the Philippines is really one of the few places where you can get the cost savings that everyone's looking for, but also have the cultural symmetry with the U.S. And if you're looking to hire people in those spaces, I really think the Philippines is an excellent option for you. Number 6, healthcare professionals. It's a running joke that whenever you go to the hospital, half the nurses are Filipinos. It's really I think the tiger moms and everything, the stereotype of Asian mothers pushing their kids to be doctors and nurses. That's been the stereotype, and part of that is because it's true. And I know in my family we've got a bunch of doctors and nurses in them as well, because growing up the family is always like, hey, you should be doctors, you should be engineers, you should be attorneys, and that kind of results in getting a lot of people in those professions. But additionally, the culture of the Philippines of really caring for your elders, being empathetic for others' pain, really working closely with the people that need it the most, and understanding what people are going through, and really, showing a desire to make people feel better is something that the Filipino people are really well known for, and I think results in them being really great nurses. But beyond that, there's some people that get into the healthcare profession, and they want to stay in the Philippines, but utilize those skills to work with U.S. companies. And so we get a lot of clients in the healthcare space that need people that have that nursing background, or even medical background as a doctor, to do prescriptions and other healthcare related tasks where those skills come in handy. And so you're not just looking for an admin assistant or some sort of VA. You really need somebody that has skills with this terminology that is a little bit esoteric within the medical field. And so finding people that have those skills, you're going to want to come to the Philippines, because not every person that goes through the nursing program decides they want to actually become a nurse. And so they've got those skills, and you find a lot of those people in the Philippines. And there's a reason why a lot of the major U.S. Insurance companies have teams in the Philippines to handle all their paperwork and do appointment follow-ups and communicate with the patients and doctors, and do all of that work while having that medical history or knowledge in their tool chest of what they can bring to the position. Number 7, engineers and architects. This is an area that actually really resonates with me, as many know that have been watching this series. I started my career in the outsourcing area, working in the Philippines, because of my history as an engineer. When I was working as an engineer in New Jersey, I was looking at Facebook, and I saw a lot of the posts that my cousins did with work that they were doing in the Philippines as engineers. And in fact, it was a gas station, the one I'm thinking about. And I was blown away by how good those plans were. And the gas station that they were designing looked everything like the Exxon station that I had previously designed in New Jersey. And that's when I reached out to my cousin and said, hey, is there an opportunity that, we might be, if I got you some work, would you be interested? And he said yes. And, the rest is history. And so the amount of talent that's available in the Philippines in the engineering and architectural field is amazing. I know that a lot of people think of India and other places for that type of talent, but especially when you're talking about small and medium-sized businesses, the ability to have close communication with your engineering or architectural staff is really important. If you're doing a structural design where it's, hey, is the building going to stand up? Is the steel gonna just stay there? Or is it gonna do the job? Maybe working with India or somewhere else where the language skills are not as important can work. But if you're an engineer or an architect that's designing a building, facade, landscape architecture, actual architectural designs of the spaces, and you want to have a staff that you can communicate with, that you can go back and forth with, that you can make some tweaks, that you can meet the client to get their feedback, and then pass that information to your team in the Philippines, you really need to have a team that you can communicate with. So you need to have a team that has the technical skills, that works with the latest software, that understands how to be most efficient with that software so they can get the job done quick, but can also communicate with you and can understand. You can look at your notes. When we're working with our clients and they're redlining a plan, they're putting notations on there and sending those plans to the team in the Philippines. That team needs to be able to understand what they're saying and put put those notes and those directions onto the plans and make those adjustments. And so being able to communicate really allows the Filipino workers to really work seamlessly with their U.S. counterparts. And so there's a reason why huge companies like Fluor and Bechtel and WSP have huge teams in the Philippines. They really can create situations where they're leveraging 500 or 1,000 people in the Philippines to support their teams in the U.S. And I know when I was an engineer, I would wonder, like, how did that huge company with all this overhead and everything that they do, how did they match me on my bids when I'm working at a small engineering firm and our overhead is presumably a lot less? How are they matching me on these bids? And what I learned later was they're leveraging talent from all over the world so that they're finding the right people in the right seats at the right cost point to do the work that needs to be done. So yes, maybe their executive team is highly compensated and at a higher rate and a higher billing rate, but then they're divvying out the work to employees that are at a lower billing rate as well. And so as a result, they're able to compete on those bids. And so I really tell people there's really opportunities to find really great engineering teams and architectural teams in the Philippines. Well, that was a lot. Hopefully you watched this video and you learned a lot more about how working with the Philippines can be a lot more than just call centers and VAs. We really need to look at the breadth of your organization and where can you find places where a Philippine workforce can really slot in and leverage your company to a higher level. There's opportunities, I think, in every organization to supplement your team or grow your team with staff in the Philippines to make them more efficient, make them stronger, and make your company more profitable and better to compete in a global economy. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. The easiest thing is to make a comment in the comments below. We definitely will answer any questions you have there, or reach out to us directly. Go to www.tache.ph and reach out to us there, and we can answer your questions there. I think that there's opportunities for you to find an amazing team that can exceed any of your wildest dreams as far as skill level and experience and ability to give you the results that you want to have. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button for this video. It really helps us out. It allows us to get the message to more and more people and allows you to be the first ones to see our upcoming videos. So until next time, I'm Bryan, and this is the Philippine Business Playbook Podcast.